Hey, this is Alex Rome, and today we're going to talk about some 808s. And that's like, for those of you who don't know what an 808 is, that's a bass line that you would hear in festival trap, hip-hop, rap, trap. It's just that big, heavy bass line that's followed by a nice, powerful kick. And the reason I wanted to do this video is because I saw this comment right here. Can you go over how to make an 808 sound as good as big artists? Mine always sound a little fuzzy and not as strong, even with proper EQing. So I wanted to talk about that and definitely create some 808s in here to kind of, talk about the issue with 808s, the hard part about them, and of course what's easy about them. So let's go into Serum. I'm going to make these 808s with Serum. And, oh yeah, and I do want to mention something about my videos. Although it looks like I don't answer any of your comments, because I don't answer a lot of them, because it would take a while if I answered them all. I do read every single one of them. Like, I read every single one of your comments. So I do see them. So feel free, if you want to comment something, just so I hear it and read it. I do read every comment. So I did want to throw that out there. So let's go into this 808, and then we can talk about the mixing of it. And first, obviously, the design of an 808, what I like to do when I'm making my 808s. So the first part, obviously, is the production of an 808. And then the second part of making an 808 sound big is the mixing. And then the third part is the mastering. So how do you set yourself up for each of those, stages in creating a genre that needs a big 808? So let's go ahead, write down a region here, and give us a nice speed for, I guess, trap. I don't know. So BPMs are so all over the place today. It's insane. So let's lower the volume of this. Probably the most basic rhythm for an 808. So I'm just going to write the note real quick. As you can see here, I only have the sub oscillator turned on Serum. Now, if you don't have Serum, you could use any other synth. Any other synth will make a good 808. Serum, in my opinion, if you're going for the best possible 808 with as many options as you need, I would go with Serum to create it, because it's got so many options for anything you want to do with the 808. Serum, I like to make 808s with Sylenth one as well, but I am going to use Serum because I think more people have it right now. So first thing I want to mention is look at the pattern. The pattern of your 808 is important because it has to match your kick, and 808s don't usually have kicks built in. They do. Some plugins do that. You could get plugin extensions for Kontakt 5, which is preset 808s, and they come with kicks on the front. But if you're making an 808 from scratch, you need to find a kick. And my go-to kicks for 808s are really tiny ones. So I went to Splice and I found one that was really easy to find. This is on one of the first pages. I think I searched to like hip-hop kick, and that's really what I'm going to go for, because they're usually tiny. Hip-hop kicks are really small and short. And so if you search LL Kick Pink 2, you will definitely find it. I actually don't think that 2 is there. It might be there, though. And what I want to do is I want to roughly mix this kick with this 808. And everywhere an 808 starts, I'm going to put a kick. Now, keep in mind that if you should probably write your kick and snare first before putting your bass line down. But I obviously didn't do that here because I knew the rhythm that I wanted to do. It's just a really simple rhythm for teaching purposes. But if you're trying to write your own 808 line that sounds a little different, I would say start with the kick and the snare and then follow the kick with the bass. Everywhere there's a snare you put, or kick you put a bass note. So then it'll sound like this. Like that. That's pretty it's a pretty awkward bass line. Let's throw a snare in there just to make this sound like we know what we're doing. Let's just get something like this, something quick. Oh yeah, we gotta get rid of that one. Let's do a nice little thing like this, and then this is cool because I could show you what to do if you have sort of a different kick line, and that looks to be what I'm going for here. So something like that. And now we're basically going to have to replace our 808 to match this. But the idea is everywhere that there's a kick, not a snare, we can see this bass line starts on a snare. Not good. Let's go here. We got to follow both of these kicks. So if we go here, then we go a note later. Follow it nicely, just like that. And then we can follow it like that. Do we have a note here? Oop. We messed this one up. Let's go through and do it like that, and then we don't need any other notes here. So there we go, guys. That is the rhythm I'm gonna go with. Now let's get to designing this big nice 808. So when I'm designing an 808, I like to use one oscillator. That's it. Just one oscillator, no more. If you add more oscillators, it's just gonna get messy. So you can see we have all these choices of waves, and to be honest, they all work quite well besides the saw wave. Never use a saw wave for an 808. I just never, it's just too thin of a sound for what we want to be capable of. Now, there's two ways to look at these waves we're left over. We have the triangles, which are semi-loud. We have sine waves, which are totally quiet. Which is good because then you can build onto a sine wave, add distortion, stuff like that. Or you can start with a square wave, and you don't need to do anything. You could basically filter it, add a little bit of distortion sometimes if you need it, and it's already big. I think it's the biggest sounding wave. And a little tip, sine wave with overdrive on it is a pulse wave, so you kind of skip the overdrive part of designing this if you just go with a square wave. Either way, yes, I like to use overdrive on my bass lines, but if I use this square wave, I'm not going to have to. Now here's what we do. You need to turn off all your oscillators besides the one generating the square wave. So if you had oscillator A on, you could generate the square wave with that, but I want to use this oscillator just because it says sub and I feel cool. So let's go into filter. We want to filter this sub. So if we play it, still sounds like that. I need to filter the sub. That's what this S stands for. Now, we're not done yet. We need to pick a really powerful filter. And I like the filters with the highest numbers on it. So if you see the 24 here, that just means your filter is as strong as can be. So if we go to the 12, you see it's a roll-off. I'm not a roll-off kind of guy. I'm more of a brick wall kind of guy. I like to cut off all the frequencies that we don't want, and we definitely don't want that high-end frequency in our 808. We do want a little bit of mids though, because they sound pretty cool. But if I play it now, we get something like that. Now, mind you, we can manipulate it just with these two knobs. I love manipulating 808s with resonance and cutoff. So watch what happens. That little bit of midsection we could jack up with the resonance. So that sound. Or we can just use the cutoff. You can get pure sub bass. This is something you would hear if you had just a sine wave. It'd be really quiet like this. Or we could go a little bit louder. This is what I like because you can hear the teeth of the wave. Just like that. So now the next part is manipulating how long the 808 goes. So right now it's going forever because we have this sustain here. It sustains at 100%. So let's bring the sustain down. So that's a cool sound, but I like really long 808s because I like a pronounced bass straight through. Just like that. And I like to do one last thing, click this on mono so none of my bass lines or none of my bass notes have any chance in the world at overlapping. Okay, so that's my bass line. That's the production of my bass line. Now here's a little tip. If you want your bass and your kick to be the biggest thing in your mix, it's not about making them really big, because frankly you could use a pretty small bass line and a pretty small kick to have them sound big. It's just how you mix it. So let's pretend this snare is every layer in your track. So let's just say we have 2 layers and times these layers by 2. We have 100 layers here. We got hi-hats and everything else on this layer. So this is like clearly a summary of what I would do if I was mixing an 808 to sound as big as possible. And this is extremely important. So the first thing you want to do is definitely put an EQ on every single layer besides the kick and sub bass, like this. I like to go up to 140 hertz at least, and you want to brick wall it. Now that's going to be on every single layer so this bass line can breathe. Now my man who commented to let me know that I should do this video, you said your 808s always sound fuzzy and I guess not pronounced, but you didn't say they weren't pronounced, but I'm guessing they're just not pronounced, they're not in your face, and this could be why. Right here, do you have a low cut on every single layer? Because if you don't, then your bass line's not going to shine through, because there's low end artifacts whether you see them or not. So put one of these on every single one of your layers and see what happens. And then here's what we have to do. We have to mix the sub bass in. So every single one of your layers. So your leads, your mids, let's turn them down. Let's turn your percussion down, your snare right there. Let's turn the bass line down, and then let's leave the kick. First thing I'm going to do is put the kick out. Find a nice level for the kick. Let's leave a room. So if you notice here, look how much room I'm leaving. I'm going to turn this kick all the way down. And so the green level is only hitting about that 15. You could go higher, but I would never go till the level is in yellow, because then you might have trouble mixing other elements in, because you don't want to leave no room. If you had a kick that was this loud, you're leaving no room. You virtually don't have to do much EQing with a kick and bass either, as long as you sidechain them, and that's what I'm going to do next. But first thing what I want to do is get an idea of the mix, and then I'm going to mix this in from the bottom. So that sounds like a cool mix. Let's mix in the snare. I overmixed that. So that looks good for now. So the final thing I'm going to do is probably the most important step, and that's side chaining. So as you can see here, I duplicated this kick line, took the same exact kicks, and we're going to make a ghost kick. Now, if you're going to listen to any part of this tutorial, listen to this. This is extremely important, because we have to mix this bass line around this kick with minimal ducking. We don't want any ducking going on. None. We want such a minimal side chain that we could barely hear it, but we need the side chain, so you can't skip this step. This is ultra small. We didn't want that. Let's go here. Let's just replace with what we have going on. We can't use that either. Alright, so let's take these, because these are a good size. Here. We definitely want a consistent signal, though. That's why I'm really straightforward about putting the right size signal here. Now, this is how to sidechain a bass line, an 808 bass line, because this is you don't want it to be a noticeable sidechain, but it has to be sidechained. So let's go into the ghost kick and do no output. So now you can see nothing's going on there. Let's go into this bass line and get rid of that little DC offset. Just like that. So now there's no pop. And we can start sidechaining. I'm going to use my sidechaining plugin of choice. And my ghost signal is going to be on audio 3. So that's why I'm going to sidechain to audio 3. And Logic's compressor works the same exact way as this. So just go to sidechain, audio 3, and pick your settings for your sidechain. My sidechain settings are going to be a quick release, relatively quick attack. Anywhere around 15 milliseconds for that works. For release, going something quick, I wouldn't go anything quicker than 15 milliseconds though, because that'll give you a little bit of feedback. And see that tiny side chain right there happening? That's what we're going for. And you want a good amount of sidechain going on, but not a noticeable amount. Like, I could hear what was going on there, but when I put this kick here, this kick will cover up everything that's going on. So now we have this kick hitting, and we don't even notice that it's actually sidechaining at a gain reduction of negative 20 decibels. That's a lot of sidechain. That's a lot of gain reduction, but we can't even hear it, which is perfect. And then you can go ahead and manipulate your kick to sound a little bigger if you want. Right there, and we can make our kick sound bigger by turning down our bass line a little. And so that's like a really nice canvas to mess around on. So there you go, guys. I taught you the mixing of it. I taught you the design of an 808 and all the stuff about side chaining and everything like that. Tried to give you as much insight as I could on 808s. Hopefully you guys are going to take this information and kill it. So if you were able to take something of value from this tutorial, go ahead, leave a thumbs up. Leave a comment and subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for some more awesome stuff. Peace.